Okay, I'm going live on a different phone right now. I'm just testing the delay and the audio, and the internet where I'm at could be slow, so we'll see. And the camera is very close to me. Like, it makes everything look like I feel like I'm sitting far away, but like my face is right at the screen. So I'm in a public place right now in my car, so there might be a bit of comings and goings. So I thought I'd take this opportunity. I wanted to test the audio on a different phone because some of my other live streams where I'm teaching nervous system regulation and stuff like that, I've noticed there's a bit of the audio can be in and out, and the volume is not as great as I'd like it to be and inconsistent. So I was thinking if I check a different phone, I wonder if there's anything different, and I will take this opportunity to introduce myself. It's always such a different feel going live by yourself just to talk about yourself on the internet to people you don't know, rather than being in teaching mode. So I'm aware of the vulnerability and the different vibes, so I'll just talk to you like a friend, you and whoever else ends up watching this. Okay, so introducing myself. So basically, I thought I'd give you a heads up about my background with teaching and yoga and meditation and nervous system regulation stuff. If my eyes are wandering, it's just because when I'm thinking, it's easier sometimes to just, stare from the distance and speak. So I'm not trying to be rude. So when it comes to yoga, I started doing yoga when I was about 18 going on 19, but actually 18 is when I started, and I knew going into it that I'd end up teaching. So I started practicing for a couple of years. I started off in Ashtanga yoga, which is a fairly dynamic, aerobic, active form of yoga. It's a lot more intense, but it's quite deep. It really deepens you into this kind of solid meditative state. So my introduction into yoga in that respect was like, oh, this is very much a practice. Like, yoga is not just a stretching thing. This is like a very deep internal process. Like, you come out of it feeling very connected. I used to come out of my classes feeling otherworldly, high, like in a state of bliss, but also like something profound was going on under the surface. And I guess for me personally, something really profound was going on in that there was a lot being activated in me energetically and spiritually via yoga. Like, I was being reintroduced to something that was very natural to me, to say the least. Like, I hadn't really done yoga before about 18 and heading straight into it. And I was like, what do you call it? A fish in water, duck in water. It was just, yep, I know this. I know what I'm doing, and I know how to teach this before I really even knew all the postures. So there was this, it depends what you believe in, but some people might call it past life, who knows, or just an innate sense of like, this is an extremely natural thing to me, and I know how to help people with it, or I know how to teach it. Like, I just understand it. So I started off with Ashtanga yoga, and that was really great and really deep. And then it got to a point where it was like, okay, I know I got into this because I was going to be a teacher. Just knew that there's another story around that, but I was like, okay, it's time for me to do my teacher training. So I reckon I must have started my teacher training when I was 20. So about a year or two into doing my own yoga practice. I'm going to have some water. And I did my teacher training. That was a different experience. I did, that teacher training was more hatha yoga based, more meditative based, a bit more focused in a spiritual direction, which was good. It was a different balance. It was less dynamic, less Ashtanga-ish, less like aerobic type of yoga, so that brought a different balance in. By that point, I'd had a fairly significant, in between those two, doing Ashtanga yoga and starting my teacher training, and had a fairly significant spiritual awakening. I've spoken about this on my channel before, Kundalini awakening, which was spontaneous and quite like life-changing actually, not just quite life-changing, but deeply life-changing, and that took quite a while to recover from, or grow from, heal from. It was a huge shock to my system, my psyche, my humanness. And yeah, so that was a huge journey, recovering from that and coming back to the humanity after the huge spiritual expansion. So those were kind of like, that was a before and after the awakening, and then going into my teacher training. So it was almost like this initiation process. I feel like I'm supposed to talk about something to do with the Kundalini awakening, but it slipped my mind. Sorry, because of the nature of Kundalini awakening and those topics, you kind of can get, you go blank because they're kind of spiritual topics, so you're talking kind of a bit beyond your human mind self. Anyway, I got a bit lost. Kundalini awakening, what happened? Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, that was a huge experience, very life-changing. After that, I did my yoga teacher training, and I have been teaching ever since. So I got my certificate around at about age 21. So it was a 250-hour yoga teacher training. It's a year and a half or so, so fairly in-depth. Came out with that and kind of started teaching not that much longer after, and I've been teaching ever since. But I guess I'm trying to figure out why I went blank just now and what I was really trying to get to. I guess the point of all of that is that I've had the qualifications, had the experience, but it's always felt like a very, very natural thing to me to teach yoga and meditation stuff. It's just, I just understand it for some reason, and yeah, it's very natural. So getting the qualifications and all the training and stuff was obviously just, what you have to do, and the getting the practical things in place so you can teach what's quite natural to you. But with yoga and meditation and whatever it is I'm teaching, what I am personally interested in is how that changes myself, at least at a feeling state level, in a connection to a deeper part of ourselves, connection to magic, internal freedom, healing in the body, in the mind, healing in your nervous system, which is an area I'm focused on and in at the moment because of the profoundness of our nervous system and how deeply it impacts every area of our life. And I think, okay, I'm circling back to the Kundalini awakening thing now. For me personally, the Kundalini awakening was like a huge explosion through my central nervous system, like so much energy all at once. And so when I say recovering from it, it was not only energetically, spiritually, mentally, physically, but nervous system beginning to adapt to such a huge shift in my own personal energy and experience of the world and experience of myself. And I guess you're kind of channeling energy in a different way within yourself and within life, and it's like this huge adaptation of learning how to have this capacity to hold a different version of yourself, or a more expanded expression of your own energy. So nervous system healing has been, whether I knew it at the time, a huge part of the integration journey of my before and after, of before the spiritual awakening and the integration of that whole process. And when I say before and after, I really mean like, everyone is perfect as they are. I was born perfect as I am, and I was always quite sensitive and intuitive, but I just thought that was normal. I thought that's how everyone was, and I could manifest things and intuit things when I was quite young as a girl and stuff, and I'd just know things. So that was just me thinking that's how everything was. I wasn't looking at it from a spiritual perspective. I didn't really know any better. I just believed I was magic. And then I had this very conscious and profound spiritual and awakening. So it was like, you know yourself, and then, oh my God, what is all this? And now you know, if that makes sense. So it's like a deepening of, you're consciously unconscious of your own magic. Now you're aware of it, and now it's like, holy shit. now I hold those two things, my innate human primal self, not even primal, just natural self, my understanding of that, and then the integration and more. There's, life's a process and a journey, but it's pulling those things together, the conscious and the unconscious, the spiritual and the physical, the mental and the emotional, and the blah 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 blah. But yeah, that's been a journey, and in the background of a lot of that journey, I've been doing nervous system healing through a form of chiropractic. So that's really helped my system to come into a deeper balance, physically, mentally, emotionally, in ways I didn't quite understand that it was doing. Like, I knew it was helping me in my life, but only when I look back on reflection and doing like deeper, more intentional nervous system work can I see the profound impact it really has had. So, when you say a whole bunch of words and you tell a story and you're like, why did I say all that? What was the point in telling all of that? I guess I'm sharing that purely just to give a little bit of background. I guess, like I mentioned before, on my experiences, there's so much more in and around all of that, in terms of that journey, that awakening experience, the yoga, the journey with that, the integration of those aspects of myself, and then bringing it all together and grounding that awakening into your physical body, and so you can actually create a life that makes you really freaking happy. I don't know, I'm going blank now. I've clearly said everything that needs to be said, but I'm going blank. Anyway, that's the journey. That's how I got here in a very kind of general and basic sense. It's been a lot, and maybe I'll share more on that in other ways. But in terms of what I'm offering on my channel on YouTube, bringing it back to you guys, that's some of the experiences that have informed what I'm sharing. So I really enjoy making yoga nidra meditations and putting them on my channel, like those relaxation lying down meditations. I'm enjoying that, and bringing the depths of how to get into that really relaxed, at peace state internally, and guiding into that, and all that kind of stuff. And then my yoga teaching is just based on experience. I've taught in gyms, I've taught one-on-one classes, I've taught public classes outdoors for the council, for all sorts of different things. So I've got quite a bit of experience there teaching with all sorts of different people, and I have really enjoyed that. And I'm given where there's heaps more to my journey I can share, but just given where I'm at and my personal interest right now, I'm really enjoying the integration of the nervous system healing and regulation, and pulling it all together and seeing where I go from here. So that's a part of where my sharing comes from. There's a whole other journey with other elements of my life that nervous system healing and regulation has really helped me with, and I might share on that at some stage, we'll see. But for now, this is just like a brief introduce yourself, bit of a background. I do have a video talking about Kundalini awakening that I made around 8 years ago. It's got probably the most views on my channel so far. So if you scroll back, it says it's called Kundalini Awakening, Why Most Yoga Teachers Have No Idea. It feels like a bit of a bratty title, but it was basically me explaining how a lot of people talk about things they have no experience with, or they only have conceptual understanding with, not first-hand experience with. And it wasn't a judgment or anything. It was just like, God, unless you've lived through it and you really understand what that can be like, some people can go into these topics with ignorance or lack of understanding, and that's life. You just share from what you understand. I'm probably sharing things I don't have full understanding of. I try my best not to, but But yeah, seeing teachers out in the world talking about Kundalini awakening, knowing full well that they probably haven't had first-hand experience with the real deal. Again, that's fine, but it's always nice to hear from people who have and not lead people astray in the pathway of that experience. Like, oh, you should go and try and awaken your Kundalini energy. Yeah, nah. My personal opinion, no. I don't encourage manufacturing or trying to choreograph that experience, because it's very, very life-changing. And once you kind of, and I mentioned this in this other video, once you explode out of that box, try getting back in. You got to be really ready to change your life and your perception and your whole conception of existence before you go playing with that stuff. So, you know, you see people doing these plant ceremonies and cacao ceremonies. I don't think are going to get you that far. They could, who knows, but you know, dabbling with these spiritual concepts and these practices that can really explode people before they are ready or know how to actually handle the experience. Like, I just think that's, I want to say ignorant, I want to say sad, but just misinformed, really. And people should be more careful. But then again, everyone's got to learn somehow, so you can't really control it. People figure things out through trial and error. But if someone were to ask me personally, do you think I should do this? I would say, most of the time, no. That's just from someone who had to recover from it, who did not plan on having it happen. Me. Okay, so I'm like squished in my car right now. If you're wondering why I'm like moving myself around, I'm trying to get comfortable here. Okay, that's a whole 17 minutes. So I think that's enough time to find out whether my audio has worked. And I guess if it has worked and I haven't got as much interference, I might try and do my next live stream, like yoga or nervous system based live stream on this phone, and see if it works just as well. So we'll just play around with it. Okay, I hope you enjoyed my little session. It was a little bit conversation. It was a little bit flighty because I was going off on tangents I didn't know I was going to go off on, and then trying to figure out what they had to do with what I was talking about. So you saw that real time. But thank you for watching, and feel free to comment and reach out and stuff. And I'll link the Kundalini Awakening video below. I also have a story. Oh, yeah, it's probably time to share that too. I have a podcast I made about my Kundalini Awakening and that journey and kind of what happened and what I was shown and what I saw. And it was a bit spooky, let's just say the least. Like, very spooky, but profound and cool. So I might link that in the comments below here too, if you're interested, or you can ask me about it. Hi, Rohan. Yeah, so it turns out that this little live stream had something to do with Kundalini Awakening. And I had no idea that was going to happen. Okay, I will be on the internet on my channel again soon, and I hope you are enjoying what I'm putting up, and or just enjoying your life in general. And thanks for being here. Rohan, what are we talking about? You might have to rewatch this because I'm just about to close up, but thanks for being here. Okay, see you later.